What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Nathan, and on this planet we send it. And what we're going to begin in today, well, we're going to begin into a garden vlog to where I'm going to be highlighting where we've been since the last week or two since I did my last vlog update. So I will also kind of give you a little primer here. I'm pretty excited to be able to show you a good news story. I'll talk about it here in just a little bit, but the bees were starting to stress, and so yeah, I'm happy that I'll be able to talk about a recovery story today. But we're going to do just our normal walk around, showing where things are and where we're progressing. Now that we're getting well through spring and things are warming up and more life is coming to all the plants here in the garden. All right, I got a plan in place. Let's go ahead and send it. All right, the blueberry bushes. So, I think as you guys have heard me say, I was a little concerned on how this seemed to be growing slow. Well, it's doing a lot better now. And as a matter of fact, I almost like how this one is growing compared to this one. You'll see this one, it branched out very early and down low. So it seems like it's going to be pretty dense and have a very low center of gravity and being able to bush out nicely. This almost seems like it's growing out a little bit more sporadically. I'm still happy that it's growing. There's, no real complaints, but where I was a little bit concerned about how this one was growing, I'm now preferring the way this is growing over this one. And what you'll see here, these two green bags on either side, I just I received these as a gift from my cousin, and I'm going to be these growing bags, and I'm going to be growing potatoes in them. I've already put one potato in each bag, and we're just gonna, as the potatoes start to grow in each bag, I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of keep filling it up. For those who watch my Jeeping video, you guys will be you're going to be excited to see that one, or at least I'm really excited to bring it to you. That should be out in a couple of days after this one, or early next week. Let's see how we've definitely been feeding the bin pretty good, and it's going strong, it's still going. The only thing to kind of note now, and let me get it down here a little low, is now that we're warming up, the leachate down here has just been drying up. So I had that issue before, but you can almost kind of see where it's almost peeling in places because it got so thick and it's just drying up. Strawberries have been coming in delicious. You can see over here, we even got we got some already starting to ripen, and then the next group coming in right behind it. And that's going pretty consistent over the entire strawberry section here. My son is doing some homework back in there, so I don't want to go over there and distract him by doing the video. So we'll kind of narrate everything over here. Nothing real too much to highlight here. This thing is doing as good as the in-ground garden's been doing as good as it can. We did prune, as you'll see here in a little bit, Big Bertha, so you can see we use everything that we possibly can, and we put all the leaves in this section to kind of add to the carbon in the ground. The hops plant it's just been spring, and that thing is just going and expanding. I think I wouldn't be surprised if those vines don't make it all the way down to the vertical garden. Now let's talk about the bees again real fast. Let me go ahead and zoom out, come out so I can zoom in. Let's see here. Let's see if we can zoom in right there. All right, so now I think for you guys, since you last saw the video, you're not seeing much different here. I will say that the colony was probably down 50%. It seemed like it was down drastically. We had like a couple periods of some light rain, and I don't know if, the bees, sort of succumbed to it, or if it was just their normal life cycle, but I didn't see too many bees around the beehive, at least at the base here near my house, but they have definitely bounced back. So I was extremely excited to see, and as you can see them kind of right there, they are very busy. And the other good thing about them being very busy is they are not showing any signs, at least as of today, knock on wood, they are not showing any signs as of today of being hostile. So that's great, as we've been seeing them moving about the garden. Nothing too new going on here in the vertical garden, with the exception of the hops. They just seem to be exploding. For Earth Day, we went out to Balboa Park in San Diego, and they were giving out some tomato bushes, so we got some of those down there for free. That was pretty cool. And right now, all the other tomatoes here that are currently growing aren't showing. Some of them are actually starting to the flowers are starting to open up, like we'll come down here, but it looks like they haven't quite opened up yet. And then just finishing up on this end of the vertical garden, it looks like the spinach is actually looking a little bit more vibrant. The colors is just a little bit more dark, and it looks like maybe the warmer weather is actually helping it start to grow and thrive a little bit, or at least maybe the bacteria and the biology in the soil is now really assisting the spinach's growth. And then also, these flava beans are just going crazy right now. This thing is just bushing out really nicely. And check it out. We're even starting to get some beans coming out now too. Hola, gata. How you doing, mi perlita? Enjoying the weather? It is a nice day. I don't blame you. You got any mice to hunt? I see them making holes in my garden in the grass. Go get them. Go get them. All right, you're going to see here in a second why my dual grafted tree is now contending with Big Bertha. Check this thing out. And the growth that you're seeing here is really just the plum tree, but this thing is exploding, and because it's only this little portion right here that is the actual peach tree. And let's go ahead and come on in here. We're already starting to get plums coming out. So, and it looks like we're going to have a really good harvest of plums this year. And that's great because plums is one of the fruits that when you grow in the garden, they are orders of magnitude better than anything you can buy in the store. We'll just come in here real quick. The milkweed. So we were told by the nursery to go ahead and cut them down to about 6 inches in every November. And we did so, but only this side seemed to come up. So I think I'm going to end up having to get more milkweed because we are seeing some of the monarchs that apparently might be migrating back to the house from their migration down south into Mexico. So I want to make sure they have a nice warm environment to come back to. Let's go ahead and check out the semi-dwarf trees. Let's see here. I'm not seeing any flower or anything, but this one is definitely looking really healthy, and it's really starting to sprout out. Just everything about it is showing good health. And let's take a look at this other one here. Oh, we're getting some new growth here. We got some new growth here. So again, not as much as the other one, but I'm still seeing new growth coming in, so that's great. And the peach tree, oh my goodness. I got a net that I hadn't put on this thing that I need to go ahead and put on because the peaches are coming in and these birds are going to go crazy for this thing this year. All these peaches right now are looking to be not only healthy, but it looks like it has a healthy amount of peaches on any one branch, as in not too many for one branch, just a nice, for example, like this one, little too many for one branch. But if you look at some of these, you got just one there, they're sort of spread out, a little less dense. So I think that these over here will more than likely do better than those that are all bunched up. We'll go ahead and just jump over here to the persimmons tree. Not seeing any fruit coming in quite yet. And right here by my cat is where the other milkweed was. You can see that stick there and that stick there. We cut it as directed from the nursery when they just didn't come back. So I'm probably going to get a couple of pots of milkweed and put them in this area. And just, again, like I said, so when they migrate back from Mexico, they have a good place to come back to, the monarch butterflies. But speaking of Mexico, talk about the Mexican lime tree here. The next wave of limes are coming in. It's doing good. And the other thing is let me see if I can kind of zoom in on this section because it is a little bit up there. We got new growth starting to come in various places around the tree. So this tree has been doing great since I planted it, and it still remains doing just the same. Let's take a look at the fig tree here. Let's see here. Not seeing any new figs coming in quite yet, but I am seeing a lot of growth coming in. Let's see here. Looks like there's a sucker down here. We're going to go ahead and take care of this sucker. Oh, that's gone. Take care of this sucker. Remain a sucker free. Yep, all you guys, not over here. Grow somewhere else, but not on that part of the tree because we want to make sure this new one is doing good. And check it out. This thing is really starting to thrive now. It has grown probably 2 spurts this year. And so pretty soon, maybe by the end of this year, it's going to be about half that size. And then each one of these branches, I'm just going to train to kind of come out this way, away from the bigger one right now. And we'll have 2 variety of figs growing in one place in about 1 year, I think. The avocado tree. So I will have to say that I did have to restake it because we've been still getting the winds, and I just put the stakes that are down here a little bit deeper, so hopefully they don't get knocked over by the wind. But the best thing to highlight is actually from this direction. You can see this new growth here, and kind of just springing out all the way at the top. So in all these places. So we'll go ahead and zoom in and look at some of this new growth that's coming in. We're getting growth like this all over the tree now. Even here on the inside, we're getting that growth, and that's just going to be great. I'm just really excited to see how much fruit that we get from this avocado tree. Again, I think it's going to be this year, but there's no guarantees because I'm not quite sure. I've had this now, I think this is my 3rd year, and I'm not quite sure how many years it was growing before we purchased it. Big Bertha. I feel like she might be a little mad at me. You guys notice anything different about Big Bertha? I'll give you guys a second here. All right, that's a second. That branch that was right there, I pruned off. So there used to be that one hanging over that side of the hill, period, and I took that off because we were just having to stake it up every year because it wasn't able to support its own weight. And to be honest, it was just kind of blocking sun that from the pomegranate tree and even the avocado tree. So I figured we still every year have guavas that fall to the ground and we never get to, and so hopefully having just a little bit less production this year, will help us be able to keep up with Big Bertha, because she's still a beast when it comes to harvesting. Now, I will also say that although I anticipate it maybe to be a little bit slower this year, maybe we can keep up with Big Bertha this year. I do think in the following year she's going to just start out producing us again, because I'm already seeing, now that I made that cut, significant growth coming in throughout the whole tree that were before I thought things were dying, but it looks like now things are coming back to life. And the pomegranate tree, man, this is another tree that is just doing great. I mean, it's doing too good, to be honest. Look at how it's already starting to bend over, and look at even this branch here. Let me get here. See how it's kind of coming over and already going down? We'll come in a little bit. Like, that wasn't even here this year when we first started the year, and all I had was that one, and it already has a new one coming in and basically being weak, so, and hanging over. So that's all good. When it comes time to pruning, I just will pick the strong ones that are pointed upward and cut the rest, and just eventually it will kind of continue to cone upwards and be able to support the weight really well. At least I'm concerned about it being able to support the pomegranates, because pomegranates aren't necessarily light fruit. So real fast, we'll kind of knock these 3 out here in this one section. So haven't touched the ashwagandha bush, as you can tell, but that is on the chopping block. Let's come in here and take a look at the avocado tree. Look at all this new growth coming in. A lot of new growth coming in, so that's really reassuring. I'm pretty excited mostly to see, let's see if we can get in here and zoom in. Whoops. Go ahead and focus. Doesn't want to focus. Focus! Sorry, I do apologize about that. Let's see if we can force it to focus here. Anyways, it doesn't look like it's going to focus. So that growth right there is towards the top, and so is this one right there. There we go. So I'm hoping that those end up carrying on the main trunk and growing upwards, because as you can see, it kind of sort of died, and all the other leaves that were up here just were disintegrated pretty much. So I'm a little concerned about that one, but it looks like it's starting to pull out of whatever it's doing, or it looks like it's going to survive. Now, for the elderberry tree, look at all these suckers coming in down low. This thing is in full sucker production, and so let's make sure we don't allow any of them to come up to where we want them, where we don't want them, I should say. And so it looks like I got them all there. These are okay, because those are coming in on the main one. And to be honest, probably the one that was down there I could have kept. But we'll go ahead and just make sure that that's the section that remains sucker free, and we'll just start from here. And the papaya tree. Finally, it looks like you know, the leaves that are died are dying off, that didn't sort of make it, but it looks like the new leaves, although they're not perfectly extremely dark green as I wish they were, they do feel good, and it looks like they're going to survive. At least I hope they do. But we're still getting the next batch coming in. I'm not seeing any, well, actually maybe I am starting to potentially see some flowering coming in. Maybe it'll, you know, maybe it won't survive and it won't go to flower, but it looks like it's starting to bounce back. So that's all I can hope for as the temperatures continue to warm up. And the Navel orange tree, check it out. Some of these flowers have, you know, they're transitioning to oranges, and I don't think I said it well on the last one, but all flowers will begin to transition to oranges, but only very few of them will make it, because for one reason or another they'll just end up breaking off and falling to the bottom. Oh, and speaking of that, looks like we're starting to get a couple of suckers coming in here. This is like sucker season, so this is where we need to be extra vigilant on remaining sucker free. But yeah, it's a great thing to see all these oranges come in, and I'm kind of curious. We're gonna get one this year. Like, check this one out over here. We're gonna get one, we're gonna get two, we're gonna get five. I don't think we'll get more than five, but it'll be pretty interesting to see how these taste. The little engine that could. Okay, let's take a look at the growth that we saw the last time, the flowering. Check these out. These mango flowers are starting to come out. You haven't quite seen the bees over here yet, but because it doesn't look like they're at least fully flowered yet, and so I do anticipate as soon as they are, the bees will hop on those real quick. And let's see here, it looks like, I can't really tell if that's new growth. It looks like I might be starting to see some separation on what we've been looking at for overall winter, but it looks like, at least maybe on one of them, looks like we might be up. That one is new growth, so it looks like we might be setting up for new growth, at least there and some of the others. So now that the temperatures are warming up, we should start seeing the next growth spurt for the little engine that could. All right, so we're gonna, in addition to showing the grapes and how far we got, I do need to highlight, I had to bungee the grapevine down there and over here because this vine right there fell over for the second time. So I didn't want it to crack and break and lose all the progress, so I went ahead and bungeed that down. Now, let's see how the two branches here are doing. I am seeing, okay, so there, the branch has some growth there. The second one, the second branch has growth there. Let's see here. Actually, it has some growth there too. And not quite down to the end, but it's a lot better. But check this one out. It's growing. It got some pretty good grapes coming in already, but not seeing anything at the very tip. So it does look like the older one is going to win. All right, that's going to go ahead and wrap up this video. Again, just kind of wanted to show you guys, number one, the good news story with the bees. I was getting concerned on how they were doing because, seriously, they dropped like 50% strength, and I was thinking we were going to lose them, and I was going to have to go out there and collect the honey, or not necessarily the honey, but the honeycomb, and just use it for wax on other projects. But they are making it, and it looks like they're doing great. The other thing is the garden's starting to begin fruiting, so this is where things really started to get exciting here in the garden, and I am super excited to be able to taste the fruit of my labor this year, especially here on the plum tree, the peach tree, maybe the orange trees, and some new avocados. And then, of course, all the ones that have been here for a long time. Limes, pomegranates, the figs, the grapevines, and many more. But anyways, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one.